always, welcome to the conversation, and you best believe we have plenty to talk about on this finally Friday. The block is hot. We're going to talk about Trump in just a minute, okay? I want to welcome you to FOXSOUL's Black Report. We're also following the latest on the VP's trip to Africa and the new system that aims to help locate missing Black women and children. I'm Courtney Hicks.
Courtney, we have finally made it to the week.
Man, listen, I'm
ready for the weekend.
Be honest, I'm on fumes.
Okay.
I'm ready for it.
Well, the weekend's going to get you through.
Yeah.
And we're going to recharge and get back to it.
That's right.
Hey, look, I'm Brandon Hudson in for Nicolai Corte, plus the all-Black female production company that is making changes in the film world, and the young student who has over a 4.4 GPA. Look, these are stories that impact our people.
That's right. We're going to bring you our news, our views, and our voice. So,
let's get to it.
Topping today's conversation, former U.S. President Donald Trump has been indicted by a Manhattan grand jury over hush money paid to porn star Stormy Daniels, making him the first ex-president to face criminal charges while running for office. Now, the charges stem from a probe led by Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg and are yet to be announced. Now, Trump's lawyer confirmed the indictment, and he will have to go to Manhattan for processing. This investigation is focused on Trump's role in a 2006 sexual encounter with Daniels, whom he paid to keep quiet. Trump denies having affairs with Daniels and another former Playboy model by the name of Karen McDougal.
So we will all remember where we were when we got the news alert, whether we were watching this on TV, had our phones with us. Yeah. We will remember where we were when we saw this headline that Trump is the first ex-president to be indicted for a crime. And this is something that a lot of people, especially Trump's critics, have been waiting for, essentially since he took office in 2016.
That's right. He's finally facing the music, maybe not the song that people wanted him to face. But listen, there's also an uptick in concern about the safety of these attorneys who are pressing forward with all of these cases, because there's a few that he's going to have to face. And so it's about safety. It's about, will hate crimes against blacks kind of rise, sort of as a blowback of this situation. You've got the black district DA in Manhattan. You've got the general attorney of New York who is still investigating, and then of course the Fulton County attorney down there with the case in Georgia. So this is going to be very interesting. I think all eyes on this situation, because it is absolutely it sets a precedent never before. And last night, that's all you saw across social media. And of course, how we do on social media, Black Twitter and IG, we take it to next level. So I did get a couple of chuckles, but this is really, it's heavy. It's big news.
This show also shows that no one, doesn't matter who you are, no one is above the law.
That's right.
All right, so former U.S. President Donald Trump has been attacking the black prosecutors, as we had mentioned here, investigating him for possible crimes as the legal scrutiny he faces increases. He was labeled them as racist and called any criminal charges against him a, quote, disgrace. Now, which critics say is part of a pattern of attacking messengers and discrediting the process. Such attacks have led to threats of violence against the Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, who is investigating Trump and his office. In response, New York has increased security measures at the building where Bragg works. Some Republican lawmakers are taking legislative action to block prosecutors who they disagree with. Yeah. And so the concern, as you had mentioned earlier, we saw what happened on January 6th.
That's right.
And that is still in the minds of a lot of people. I know that they were maybe preparing for something very similar when Trump said he was going to be indicted. I think it was last Tuesday. Wasn't much of a crowd out there in Manhattan. But now that this has actually happened, and we know what some Trump supporters are capable of, at least the security is preparing now.
Yeah, but here's the thing. If I'm a Trump supporter and I believe in this man's innocence, then let it play out. And let it play out in the courts. Let it play out the way it's supposed to. Everybody wants to go home to their families, the way that they came into the office. So, and I know that mentality is far-fetched, but I mean, really, as adamant as they are and upset as they are about this indictment, and probably a couple of more to follow, if you feel that your dude is innocent, then chill out and let it play out in the court of law.
No, that's very well said.
That's it. That's my point.
But hey, look, joining us now to break down the latest Trump indictment developments is Keith Boykin. He's a former White House advisor to Bill Clinton and an author of The Race Against Time, The Politics of a Darkening America. Hey, Keith, we want to welcome you to the show.
Hey, good to be here.
Hey, you're always welcome, an official soulmate here. So D.A. Braggs has been, of course, D.A. Braggs, he's been kind of slow to speak, but loud with his actions. And as a former White House staffer, what's your response to this Trump indictment? Any surprises here?
I think the only surprise was the timing. I think we've all known, we've been sort of on indictment watch for the past few months, not only with Alvin Bragg in Manhattan, but also with Fani Willis in Fulton County, Georgia, with Jack Smith, with the case with the records and the insurrection. There's all these other cases that are out there, civil cases as well involving Trump. So, I mean, there's been a swirl of controversy around Donald Trump for quite some time. I mean, even before he took office, his foundation, his university was shut down, and he had to pay a $25 million fine. His foundation was shut down. His company has been convicted recently. His CFO was convicted. His lawyer was convicted. His campaign chair was convicted. I mean, it's hard to look at all that and think that somehow he has nothing to do with it.
All right, so 2024 Republican presidential candidate Nikki Haley has said that this is, quote, more about revenge than justice. Many Republicans follow that sentiment. Do you agree?
Even if I did agree, I guess obviously I don't agree, but I guess the question I'm getting at is, even if I did agree, I don't know how I could make that statement without seeing the indictment. And nobody has seen it yet. It's been under seal and won't be revealed until at least Tuesday at 2:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So the idea that somebody is out there saying that this is a witch hunt or it's political, as I hear a lot of people say, they're saying this without any evidence. They don't have any idea of what is in this indictment. Now, if they want to say it after Tuesday, I could see there might be some reason to say that. Maybe there is some justification for that, but I've seen no evidence of that whatsoever. And it's irresponsible for people to go out there and make those accusations, especially people who are supposed to know better, people who are in positions of responsibility, a former ambassador, as Nikki Haley is, or members of the United States Congress and senators are saying these things. It's outrageous to be so irresponsible and cavalier about our justice system.
Yeah, and to that point, was I reading this wrong? Because now I'm so confused, because Pence, former VP Pence, went on to say that this was an outrage, and I was like, okay, well, are you down or are you not? So I was a little confused about his reaction as well. So I think people speaking prematurely is key when you mentioned that, Keith. Talk a little bit about how Trump has issued all these harsh and threatening words towards these three black attorneys as they continue to look into these indictments. Of course, he's been charged on one against him in New York and Georgia. Are you concerned about what he's saying and how that might incite his base and take away from all the issues and accountability that he needs to face?
Well, I think anybody who watched what took place on January 6, 2001, the insurrection, has to be concerned that Donald Trump's words can often lead to action. We've seen this time and time again. I worked at CNN a few years ago, back when Trump was calling CNN the enemy of the people. And then shortly afterwards, this guy named Cesar Sayak sent pipe bombs to CNN. We saw this in Michigan when Trump was saying, liberate Michigan because of the he didn't like what they were doing there. And then what happened? Gretchen Whitmer, the governor, they tried to kidnap her. We saw it with the insurrection. We've seen so many examples time and time again where Trump's words have led to violence. And most notably, I think, in terms of Atlanta, is that we saw during the testimony of the January 6th committee of the poll workers, the African American poll workers who had to leave their neighborhoods, who couldn't go out anywhere because they were receiving threats from people because of Donald Trump's attacks. So I think it's just the height of irresponsibility that we're at this place in America. We have a former president of the United States who is so callous and so careless about what his words do. He's willing to take anybody down as long as it serves his immediate political goals.
Does this help or hurt Trump ahead of his 2024 presidential run?
Yeah, that's a question that I think people have been sort of discussing a lot lately. I don't really know that anybody can answer that question. My sense is that I think it may help him in the short term, meaning it helps him with the primary voters in the Republican Party, I think. I don't think it helps him in the general election at all. I think it hurts him. And ultimately, I think the fundamental problem that the Republicans have is that unless Donald Trump is is in jail, and even then he could still run for office. Unless he's in jail, Donald Trump will never allow anyone else to become the Republican nominee. I don't care if Ron DeSantis or Nikki Haley or Mike Pence or whomever wins the primaries and gets more votes. Trump will destroy the entire process and destroy the entire party before he will allow anybody else to defeat him in that process. So I just think the Republicans are digging deeper and deeper in this hole by defending this guy that you don't know what's going to happen next. You don't know when Fani Willis is going to come out with a possible indictment, or Jack Smith comes out with an indictment, and then suddenly they're stuck in this position where they're defending a guy who's under multiple indictments, multiple investigations, and multiple criminal trials, and that's not a tenable position for any candidate to win in the general election.
Yeah. So Keith, the expectation is that Trump will turn himself in sometime next week. Do you think he will follow the process, or should we start, popping the popcorn and getting the butter ready, the melted butter ready? What do you think?
Well, I mean, with Trump, you can never know what's going to happen, first of all. But who knows? I mean, if he's going to show up on Tuesday, what he's going to do on Tuesday, if he makes a big circus out of it, he's going to give a speech or something. Who knows whether his supporters will be there to defend him or not. But I can say this, he will not go gently. He will definitely fight all the way to the Supreme Court if he has to. He will delay and delay. He will have his lawyers file pretrial motions to try to stop this case. He will attack the prosecutor. And I think it is a sense of irony, too, that Trump has to go and surrender himself in New York City with a black mayor, a black police chief, and a black district attorney, and Trump has not been a friend to black people. So, I think he's going to have some difficulty sort of accepting the fact that is his new reality. And he has to deal with a Latino judge, Judge Marchand.
Yes, sir.
So,
yes, sir.
I'm sure he and his MAGA supporters are not in a good position right now.
Well, listen, Keith Boykin, we always love and respect and look forward to your insight. And, we're going to have to keep you on 24/7 feed. Don't go nowhere. You're going to have to sit throughout the whole weekend and next week, because we need you when we need you. Thank you so much. We appreciate you, and we'll definitely be tapping in to get more of your perspective. Thank you. We appreciate you. Have a good weekend.
You too.
All right, Yusef Salaam, speaking of Donald Trump, one of the wrongfully imprisoned Central Park Five responded to former President Donald Trump's indictment with one word: karma.
So here's the deal. In 1989, Trump took out a full-page ad calling for the death penalty for the 5 black and brown teenagers who were later exonerated for the rape of a white woman.
Salaam noted that Trump never apologized for his actions.
All right, so former Los Angeles City Councilman Mark Ridley Thomas was found guilty on bribery and conspiracy charges. Talk about another politician in hot water here.
Yeah.
Along with 1 count of honest services mail fraud and 4 counts of honest services wire fraud. Ridley Thomas was acquitted on 12 other fraud counts. The conviction follows allegations that Ridley Thomas, while serving as a county supervisor, received perks from USC to benefit his son Sebastian. Ridley Thomas did not testify in his own defense. The U.S. Attorney's Office stated that the verdict sends a clear message that public officials who engage in acts of corruption will be prosecuted. Details about a sentencing date were not immediately available.
Yeah, it's real unfortunate. I'm hearing, folks out of LA are real disappointed in the actions. More than likely he will be serving some time. And it's just disappointing to see when you throw all of your support and your trust behind a particular candidate and they kind of let you down and disappoint you like that. It's always tough to try to come back from that. And then that makes the apology not seem as sincere as,
Are you apologizing because you got caught, or are you apologizing because you actually, remorseful? I just need to know, what is it about USC that has all these people, high-profile people, wanting to take in the easy way to get their kids in? Because you had this councilman here, former councilman, you had Lori Loughlin from Full House, and then her other cohorts. So what is it about USC that is just, I know it's a prestigious college, but
very prestigious.
I mean, is it really worth kind of throwing away a time of your life at this point?
You know what? I think it's parenthood on steroids. Yeah. It's a tough school. It's a prestigious school, and it's a tough school. And, if your kid just doesn't have it or can't cut it, then there are other schools.
Oh, plenty.
But to manipulate your way in, it's not going to go good, obviously, with these cases that people are still pressing pressing towards to make sure people pay the piper.
Well, you see what happens with Trump?
Yeah,
and now you see that, again, no one is above the law.
I know, right?
Yeah.
All right, during an exchange in a Capitol Hill hallway, Representative Jamal Bowman, a Democrat from New York, called his Republican colleagues cowards for not doing enough to prevent gun violence. Now, the conversation occurred after the deadly shooting at the Covenant School in Nashville, which claimed the lives of 3 children and 3 adults. Let's take a look.
They're cowards. They're all cowards. They won't do anything to save the lives of our children at all. Cowards. Pressure them. Force them to respond to the question, why the hell won't you do anything to save America's children? They're freaking cowards. They're gutless. They're not here. I'm talking about gun violence.
You know, there's never been
I'm talking about gun violence.
in a school that allows teachers to carry.
Oh my God. Carry guns? You think more guns lead to more death? More guns lead to more death.
Well, he said what he said.
Yep.
He said what he said, huh?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. So Bowman, who worked in education for 20 years, asked Representative Thomas Massie of Kentucky, a conservative, if he's ever worked in a school, to which Massie responded by suggesting that arming teachers is a solution. Now, Massie plans to reintroduce the Federal Gun-Free Schools Act, which would allow guns in school zones. According to NPR, 74 people were killed or injured by guns in American schools this year.
Right.
Now, look, if you know anything about people from New York, from the East Coast, they are very passionate about everything they discuss. So this should not come as a surprise to see,
it wasn't an attack.
Congressman Bowman speak the way he spoke in a public forum. But a lot of this is just a microcosm of what people are upset about when it comes to kids, little kids dying. And this is not just with the Nashville shooting, but we have gun violence all over the country, and there is nothing that's really being done. I mean, just look at the last month with Michigan State. You had the shooting in Michigan State, you had talks about changes, and then we're still talking about legislation. And as we are still talking about legislation, the shooting in Nashville happens, where you have younger kids, younger than the five college students who were injured, the 3 who were killed. You have 3 more kids who will never get to go beyond, fourth or third or fourth grade at this point. And so I think Congressman Bowman was just very upset. And his passion led to that scene you just saw there.
Yeah, Rep. Bowman, he had time.
Yes.
He had time.
Oh yeah, he had plenty of time.
And he had to say what he had to say, and I think he should have been allowed just to say it. And I don't know if being confronted in that way was appropriate. Let him have his say, and then you guys go back in the chamber and you propose whatever you're going to propose. But his point was very well taken. People were allowing him to express that, and like you, hopefully they'll deem it as passionate instead of hostile or anything else. But we need politicians who are going to speak up, who are going to raise up and say, this is wrong. How long are we going to continue this to happen? And so kudos to him. That's exactly what we need in those hallways.
Squeaky wheel makes a lot of noise.
In session, that's right.
Speaking of gun violence, though, here's something that you hate to see. A shooting kills 2 people, hurts 5 others, just trying to enjoy a Wednesday night out at Yo Gotti's restaurant in Memphis. Now, the incident reportedly stemmed from an altercation inside Prive Restaurant, and that escalated into the parking lot. 4 men, 1 woman were transported to hospitals in private vehicles. So the victims' current medical conditions remain unknown. Yo Gotti wasn't at the restaurant during the shooting, and police have not identified the shooter or shooters. This is not the first time the restaurant has been involved in gun violence, as it temporarily closed in 2021 due to fears of retaliation after rapper Young Dolph's murder.
A GoFundMe campaign for the family of Mike Hill, one of the victims of the Covenant School shooting in Nashville, has raised over $500,000. The goal was to raise $25,000, but the outpouring of support from the community has been immense. Hill was a custodian at the school and was killed by a shooter who also killed 3 children and 2 other adult staff members. 3 other students were injured in the shooting. Now, the fundraising page says Hill should not be overlooked in the wake of the senseless loss, and thanks the Nashville community for their thoughts, prayers, and donations. And last I checked, it was $350,000. So now it has jumped to $500,000. And that really speaks to the heart of that community. It speaks to the care and the concern, and it really negates that even though there's so much darkness and evil and wrong in this world, that there are still people who are good, who choose to be light, and who choose to lead with care, compassion, and concern. And that's my takeaway.
We have seen two shootings with Oxford High School, Michigan State University in the Metro Detroit area in our own backyard.
Yeah.
And both times we have seen how it takes a village, it takes a community to lift that community up. And this is one of those examples with trying to lift up Mike Hill's family, but also lift up all the other families. But again, let's not forget, Mike Hill also had a family.
That's right.
And he'll never return home. And the table at his dinner table, that chair will remain empty. And so we also have to remember that the men and the adults who passed away, it can't be, tossed to the side. I know when you talk about news, everyone's hearts go out to the three kids because, their futures are cut short. But let's not forget, like Mike Hill could have been a grandfather, could have been a father, he was a father, grandfather.
Father and grandfather.
And so
plenty.
There's a family and there's a community that will that is hurting because he is no longer there.
This is true. Well said.
Yeah.
All right, coming up, a new push to prioritize our missing boys and girls.
So we're going to tell you about the Ebony Alert and the cities that hope to get this started fairly quickly.
You're watching Fox Soul's Black Report. We'll be right back.
Soulmates, welcome back to Fox Soul's Black Report. I am Brandon Hudson in for Nicolai Corte. Vice President Kamala Harris, who has spent the week in Africa, has announced that she plans to boost trade with and invest in Tanzania during her visit.
Yeah, this is all a part of her Africa tour aimed at strengthening ties with a continent where China and Russia increasingly hold a lot of value there. However, this is a new memorandum of understanding between the Export-Import Bank of the United States and the government of Tanzania that will facilitate up to $500 million in financing to help U.S. Companies export goods and services to Tanzania in sectors including infrastructure, transportation, digital technology, climate and energy security, and power generation.
So Mississippi's Republican-led Senate voted this week against confirming veteran educator Robert P. Taylor as state superintendent of education. The move is angering some black Democrats who say the rejection was at least partly because Taylor is black and years ago wrote about the state's racist history. The State Board of Education, which has members chosen by the Republican governor, lieutenant governor, and House Speaker, conducted a nationwide search for a superintendent last year. Board members announced in November that their unanimous choice was Taylor, who had worked the past 30 years in North Carolina.
Mississippi. It stays on fire, don't it?
They do.
Mississippi stays on fire.
I don't know how much I can say because
I can't say it's in the water because they ain't got no water.
Right. Those are shots fired right there. Look, I cannot say that I'm surprised. Because, again, in the Southeast, we know that there's still a lot of racial tension. We may not talk about it as much because it's kind of implied at this point. But when you see states like Florida and Mississippi kind of reverting back or kind of, I don't know if you can say revert back or just staying the same way they were, status quo, you get angry, but you hope that at some point that the Black Democrats in the state can find a way to get this Mr. Taylor into office.
Yeah, and we just want to be a part of the process.
Yeah.
A new proposed bill in the state legislature is aimed at increasing attention and resources to find young African Americans who go missing in California. The legislation would create an Ebony Alert notification system similar to that of an Amber Alert, but would be specifically for African American children and young women between the ages of 12 and 25. Now, the alert is meant to address the disparities in public attention and media coverage that happen when young Black and white people go missing. I think that's a great idea. And
we had this discussion before where there are a lot of Black children who have gone missing. And I think it needs to be said that sometimes they just kind of get swept under the rug and we kind of forget about it. Right. And I know that there is always talk about a certain type of child or the way they look that seem to get more press coverage than others. So hopefully this shines a light on that disparity.
Yeah, and I know there may be a little pushback saying, why does it have to be an Ebony alert? All children missing are, yet it is. But the fact and the state and the statistics say that when we go missing, we don't get the coverage, we don't get the publicity, we don't get the mentions. And so if you put in there Ebony as in somebody black is missing,
right,
it's already going to focus in on and give us the attention that we already should have been having when it comes to our missing.
I think people need to understand that when Ebony alerts or anything involving, black and brown people are created, it is not to divide.
Right.
This is to bring attention to something that is lacking in our society.
That's it.
And that is what the case is here. Black and brown children seem to be go missing, and not mentioned as much. So this is just bringing attention. This isn't a way to divide.
That's right. All right, still ahead, Believing Black Women the First Time.
Yeah, this is a new documentary that is highlighting the experiences many black women have when they speak up. We'll introduce you to the ladies behind this project coming up next.
You're watching Fox Soul's Black Report.
This month. This is one of our favorite segments that we've had this month here. So today, for Women's Herstory Month, we celebrate the quiet storm of the radio industry, media maven Cathy Hughes. Now, Hughes is the founder and chairperson of Urban One Incorporated, formerly known as Radio One, the largest African-American owned and operated broadcast company in the nation. Her unprecedented career sparked a multimedia conglomerate, which generates original content across the spectrums of radio, TV, and digital media. In January 2004, Hughes launched TV One, a cable television channel targeted at the African-American community. Today, Hughes has the distinction of being the first African-American woman to head a media company publicly traded on the U.S. Stock Exchange, and she continues to serve as chairperson of Radio One.
Yes, I have the honor of having Radio One on my resume.
There you go.
For a few years, and then a little bit later on next month, Miss Hughes and I, along with 28 other females in the radio industry, I will be honored at the Library of Congress. So
did you get to meet Miss Hughes?
Yeah, she came
tell us.
A few times.
Tell me a story.
DC, it's the headquarters. It's the mothership for Urban One, well, Radio One, now Urban One. It was Radio One for me, top floor. You're there, Silver Spring, Maryland. And, she just casually walks in and say, okay, here's Barry Gordy. You going to talk to him now? I'm like, okay. Chuck Brown, legend. So yeah, she would come through every now and again and just say, hey, or when something was dear or important to her, they were her radio waves.
Yep.
So she could shut that thing down and get on the air and say what she wanted to say. So, I was just amazed to be in the same, pool with, her and some of these other women who have just accomplished so much in the radio industry. And when they gave me a call, I was like, me?
Yeah.
Me? So, we're all going to get together, like I said, the end of April in DC. It's a big to-do with being honored by the Library of Congress. And then that display is going to travel the U.S. and then the display will sit and live at one of the libraries in Atlanta. It slips my mind right now, but I'm excited about it.
All right, so Ms. Hicks, Ms. Hughes, we celebrate the both of you.
Okay, see you in a minute.
Women and girls go missing every year.
And a third of them in the U.S. are black women and girls.
But
Yet their stories rarely get national attention.
Matter activists found dead after disappearing earlier this month. Tory Lanez is accused of shooting her after his night out.
You're enough where you are. You're enough now.
Welcome back to Fox Soul's Black Report. Amazing trailer. If that doesn't get your attention, I don't know what will. It's tackling the important topics rather that are often overlooked in society. So today we are honored to have two exceptional young women on fire who are spearheading a groundbreaking project that aims to empower and amplify the voices of Black women. Please welcome Abriana Walton, the producer of Believe Black Women the First Time, and Raven Barrett, the CEO and founder of Coco Ivy, that's it. The creators of the docuseries. Your work is inspiring, and it's helping really to dismantle the systemic oppression against Black women. Want to welcome you, ladies, to the show. Thanks for taking some time out today. All right, so Raven, let's start with you. Okay. Share with us a little bit of what inspired you to create Believe Black Women the first time. Talk a little bit about that.
I'll definitely say becoming a mother 4 years ago. Just knowing the statistics that Black women are 3 to 4 times more likely to die during childbirth than any other race, regardless of education levels. I just felt like I needed to create something that showed that we do need to be believed the first time, because sometimes that first time is our last and our first time to really be heard.
Right, so. Right. And Bree, your inspiration to wanting to be involved with this project, be a curator and move this message along?
Absolutely. So as a natural born storyteller, when I heard the statement, I immediately thought of Serena Williams. Right. I thought of Megan Thee Stallion, and myself, and so many other Black women who have to fight to be seen, to be heard. It means our mental health, it means our money at times, it means our lives. And so I just knew that this was more than a statement, it was a movement. Okay, so let's start with, you've got the partnership, and this project is so layered. It's so, I like to say ooey gooey, because it's really gonna speak to the spirit and feed the soul. So talk about, what you guys take on individually and then collectively to continue to, bring this project together and then bring this message to us. Yeah, I think it all starts with the merchandise.
Okay.
Yeah, so like I said, obviously the message is to believe us the first time. The proceeds of the sale go to Vibe Theater, which is an organization that does amplify Black women's voices. And then, so from there, we use the merchandise to make the PSA. Gotcha. And so the PSA is, yes, to shed light on the sale of the merchandise to raise funds for that organization, but also we didn't want it to fall flat and just be a video, so we created a community investment fund.
Oh, so wow.
We believe that mutual aid community is truly the key in order to get our voices heard, and so people can contribute their story, they can contribute financially or whatever resource they have.
So a lot of arms and legs, a lot of moving parts, but it's all anchored in the message, believe Black women the first time. Talk about that. Was there an experience in your lives that allowed for you to come to that point? I know for us Black women, when we go have babies, when we are not feeling well, the medical community likes to doubt us, and we're just left out there, on our own, and a lot of times it does not work in our favor. So talk a little bit as far as the messaging, how you got to this point.
It's generational, really.
Very much so. Even, with the PSA, it was intentional to have it at your grandmother's house. The wood panels represents the grandmother's house. The cookie tin, which usually has a sewing kit in it, represents your grandmother's house. So the generation of, unfortunately, Black women not being heard or believed or made seem like we are crazy when we do speak up.
And so it really also goes to the detail of the production design. We put our literal blood, sweat, and tears. It was an all Black women production who hammer and nailed those studio flats together, put our own grandmother's
So this is some real Black girl magic going on here.
It was, and thankful to our production partners at Full View Productions, it really was able to capture the detail of the cinematic quality, and we really hope to be able to move that forward. So
what are you hoping as, we tap in, and you come and share your message on shows like FOXSOUL's Black Report. What are you hoping comes of it when someone, watches the PSA? What is your hope? What is your hope?
Hopefully that they are inspired to speak up in any form, any way that they feel comfortable doing so, and that it does spark a movement of us being comfortable to use our voices.
And so men and women alike, no matter your race as well, I hope it inspires you to contribute.
So I'm sitting here and I'm feeling, that maybe the Me Too movement may have had a lot to do with a component of your message here. What do you say when you talk about believe Black women the first time? What do you say when there's been stories, headlines where, women have falsely accused people of certain acts? How do you sort of kind of balance sometimes the position that we as Black women put ourselves in when we either don't hold ourselves accountable or we lie. Yeah, talk a little bit about that, how you balance that out.
That you brought that up. So after the PSA, we had a roundtable with all of the women that were involved in the star actually of the PSA. Her name is Miosha Robinson. She brought that up and how we do have to take accountability, how sometimes we have silenced ourselves, and how sometimes it is dangerous in ways that we can communicate.
Yeah, indeed. Talk a little bit before we let you go. The debut of the PSA to kick off, what was it, Women's History Month? Is that what your girls did?
It launched on Women's Day. So this is the last day of Women's History Month, but this isn't just something that I feel like we should focus on once a year. Like she said, it's a movement, and so hopefully these themes and these narratives and conversations continue to
Absolutely. Plug us in, link us up. How can we get in touch, follow you, social media platforms, so we can tap in?
Okay, but say no more. You can follow me at Coco Ivy Brand, COCO, the letter I, the letter V Brand on Instagram and Facebook.
Yes, and if anybody wants to learn more and pledge their support, they can go to BelieveBlackWomenTheFirstTime.com and that same title on Instagram.
I love it. Raven, Bree. Believe what Black women the first time.
Thank
you. Thank you, darling. Thank you. Thank you all. I mean, continue to salt the earth with this message, and thank you so much for joining us today, y'all. Official soulmates, we got to have you back.
Thank you.
Yeah, plus you right here in the house in Detroit. All right, up next, the newest details surrounding Jonathan Majors.
Yeah, so the text messages and the evidence that he says clears his name. Of that and more when we return here on Fox Soul's Black Report.
Welcome back, soulmates, to Fox Soul's Black Report. Time now for our celebrity and entertainment headlines, B.
And as you know, every Friday, we like to have a little more fun with these stories. So here to join in on our conversation, honorary soulmate, Trey Elliott. Trey, welcome to the show.
What's going on, guys? How you doing?
You got it.
We're
Thanks
good.
for the time.
We're good. Thank you for being here with us.
All right, let's get into it. These stories, Trey, here's the first one.
So Alicia Keys, Lil Mama, they have reunited for the first time in 14 years.
The two seem to have put their infamous 2009 VMAs incident behind them once and for all. Now, on Wednesday, the two women shared a warm embrace at an event in New York as they both were believed to be celebrating the release of Tiana Taylor's new film, 1001. Your thoughts on this one, Trey?
Well, I don't know if y'all noticed, but Little Mama wasn't really invited. She party once again. But I guess Alicia, just like, what, I ain't gonna call you out. Let's just hug. She wasn't invited to that event at all. I could tell. She snuck up in there, like she snuck up on that stage. But I'm happy after 14 years to see them two hug it out. We just got to get Jay-Z on.
Yeah.
Got to get Jay-Z on board now. Yeah.
It's been so long, 14 years.
I don't even know if Jay-Z has an event where Lil Mama can sneak up on him.
No.
But I'd like to see it.
I don't see them in the same circles or rooms anymore at this point either.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. It's a big picture of a Little Mama in any place Jay-Z at. Like, she cannot. As long as I'm here, man. So.
All right, so let's move on to this next story involving Jonathan Majors.
Listen, his team is working real hard to clear his name. I'm hoping this can happen.
Yeah, so documents filed by the district attorney in New York show that the victim accused Majors of slapping her and then grabbing her on the neck. Majors, who recently starred in Creed 3, Ant-Man, both were number one at the box office back to back. They released messages that he believes proves his innocence. His attorney says that they have written statements from the woman recanting her accusations. You hate to see it to someone who is a rising star in Hollywood, but Trey, you've been following along. What do you think of what's happening with Jonathan Majors?
Man, it's a sticky situation, man. First of all, whenever you get something like allegations like that put out on you, it's whether you did it or not, it's on you already. So no matter what, people are going to look at you like you're guilty regardless. And it doesn't help that he just starred in Creed 3, a boxing film. Yeah. So it's just like, people going to think he was still in character.
Wow, this happened.
And here's the thing, man. Us, this is Fox Soul, so black people, you know, when we find out who the girl is, then that's going to let us know whether or not you have our full support. Man, it ain't all good, but the fact that she's a snow bunny, you know, black people are like, hey, I'm washing my hands of it, but if you had a sister, you wouldn't be going through all this. You know what I mean? So that's just real. You know, Black Twitter don't play. Black Twitter don't play.
Not.
He's getting that Tiger Woods treatment.
Yeah.
He's getting that Tiger Woods treatment right now.
Yeah, right. So, but you know, I hope it isn't true. But you know, those text messages that came out, those text messages that came out, it still wasn't a good look for him because it looks like what she was doing was trying to cover up for him. So this publicity wouldn't happen, this negative publicity. So she was like, hey, I'm sorry, I'll recant the statements for your sake and for our sake. But at the end of the day, it's still not a good look for him. I wasn't there. I don't know if he actually did it or not. But I just hope that it all works out for the best for him. And he's already losing endorsements and losing roles and things like that. So women, when you're dealing with the man in the industry too, you got to assess the situation. And when you're dealing with somebody of that caliber, you got to ask yourself, once you put this out there, what effect is it going to have on us? Because it's going to affect her, him, and them as a whole. So, you just got to just be mindful, man. And I hope she just wasn't out there just crying wolf. You know what I mean? With this situation, because it's not a good look for him. And I kind of feel bad for him at this point in time. Unless he's guilty, if he's guilty, then he gets what he deserves, So
yeah, we will hopefully find out, hopefully sooner rather than later. Well, speaking of from an actor who played a boxer to an actual boxer, Mike Tyson, he has expanded his cannabis brand, Tyson 2.0, into a physical location in Amsterdam, Netherlands. His coffee shop offers products and accessories from the brand and provides a lounge for visitors. Yeah,
like no surprise here. The Glass Bar also sells merchandise from other brands. CEO Tyson 2.0, Adam Wilkes, is excited about the expansion into Europe following their partnership with Purple Farm Genetics to expand into Canada last year. Have at it, Trey.
Well, you know what, man? If anybody deserves to have some cannabis, it's Mike Tyson, man. That man has done a lot. He's been high-strung for years. A hell of a fighter, a hell of a champion. And at this point in time in his life, there's nothing left for him to do but invest in cannabis, smoke, relax, and chill. We want Mike Tyson chill. We don't want a stressed-out Tyson. Because a stressed out Tyson can result in a black eye for somebody. So let him smoke, let him chill, let him live this other part of his life, like this, man. I love that he's investing, putting, cannabis is a very lucrative business. And I think it's a good look for him.
Yeah, I think we saw that when he knocked out that airline passenger. He might have been high-strung at that point.
I think.
So this Tyson 2.0 thing, this may work out a lot for him, even though they say don't get high on your own supply. Right. But anyway, let's talk about Sebastian Joseph Day, a defensive end for the LA Chargers, accused TSA staff of sexually assaulting him during a pre-flight security check at John Wayne Airport in Santa Ana, California. Now, in a Twitter thread, Joseph Day stated that he felt uncomfortable and violated during the security check, and when he asked the agent to stop, he was told that he was the problem.
Yeah, John Wayne Airport has responded to the claims and stated that they would notify TSA. However, Joseph Day stated that he had to jump through hoops to file a complaint and that the supervisor threatened him when he expressed his violation. Trey?
I mean, well, he plays a tight end, so whoever was searching him probably was looking at his tight end. It had a feeling. Now, we all know those TSA people, man. They be getting out of hand a lot of the time. They're very aggressive. They're very aggressive. I mean, I done been frisked a lot of different managed ways, and I was like, I don't know if y'all really need to check me like that. But you know, they don't get paid a lot of money, man. So you know, so their attitudes is not the greatest. It's TSA agents and then the DMV employees. You know what I mean? That's the order that it go. But if my man felt violated, he has every right to file a complaint. And that's what it is, man. You know, I need to pay these TSA agents a little bit more money, man. Maybe they'll be a little bit more chilled and relaxed. But when you go through that airport, just make sure you guys got the right clothes on, you know, just so you don't get, it just cuts the chances of you getting frisked like that. You know, sometimes I go through there naked, so they don't even got to. I just walk through naked. They see I don't got nothing on me. They don't got to pat nothing down or anything.
Hey, you put it all out there.
I put it all out there.
Yeah.
I put it all out there.
Well, hey, I want you to listen to this, Trey. Kanye West, or Ye, announced on Instagram that he no longer considers himself an anti-Semite and credits actor Jonah Hill for changing his views on the Jewish community. West expressed gratitude towards Hill for his performance in the film 21 Jump Street and stated that no one should hate millions of innocent people because of the actions of a few individuals.
So this is a significant change of opinion, as West had previously expressed admiration for Hitler and ranted against Jews, though he clarified that he was only speaking about those who had wronged him.
Trey.
Well, first of all, I don't know what time chamber or whatever Kanye is getting out of, because 21 Jump Street, that movie came out years ago.
Yeah.
So first of all, the fact that he just now watching that I'm already like, all right, Kanye, you got to catch up with the time. But Jonah Hill, out of all the Jewish people that you could say makes me want to like the Jewish community again, you choose Jonah. Like, Kanye just Kanye, man. Did I understand what he said back then about him talking about particular people in the Jewish community? Yes, but we all know we have to be careful when we talk about anything with the Jewish community, because they run Hollywood, they run everything, so you just got to be careful. I just think Kanye trying to get back into good graces with everybody. And it's just strange that he picked Jonah Hill of all people.
Yeah.
You know, Jonah seemed like a cool dude, but I'm just like, why Jonah?
Why Jonah?
You got a lot of other people I feel like you could choose.
Hey, Trey, we've got about 30 seconds. Want to wrap up with you telling us what's up with you, where you're headed, where you're going, where you're performing, where we can go check you out real quick.
Well, I'm on tour right now with Tony Rock on the Rock the Mic tour. You can catch me in Miami, April 6th through the 8th. The Miami Improv, and you can follow me on my Instagram, comedian Trey Elliott, to see our tour dates. We're booked all the way through the end of the year, so every weekend, we're in a different city, and so you can check me out on the Rock the Mic tour with Tony Rock, guys, and yeah. All
right, Trey Elliott, thanks so much for joining us today. We definitely got to have you back.
Yes, sir.
Soulmates, stay close. We'll be right back. You're watching Fox Soul's Black Report.
All right, so 18-year-old Bronny James, 18, son of LeBron, has an estimated $7.2 million in NIL deals, name, image, likeness, lined up ahead of choosing a college. He has been landing numerous NIL deals, ranking as the nation's top earner.
Wow. Okay, so James's noteworthy NIL deals include Beats by Dre, Nike, and PSD underwear. James became one of the newest I want to call him Bronny. He became one of the newest student athletes to sign with Nike in October 2022, closing the deal at the same age as his dad. How dope is that?
Yeah, so James has college offers from Memphis, Ohio State, USC, Southern California, as well as interest in Oregon.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where he goes.
Yeah, it will.
All right, Nina Mitchell, a 17-year-old African-American student from DeKalb, Illinois, has made history becoming the first Black female valedictorian in her high school's 159-year history.
There you go. Go, girl.
Yeah.
She also broke the high school's record by earning a 4.54 GPA. In her high school years, Nina served as president of the Honor Society, the Key Club. She is also the founder of the Spanish Honor Society and a part of the Principals Advisory Board. She is very much involved in her community and legislative member of the Illinois YMCA Youth and Government a member of the Youth Advisory Council, a member of the Youth Engaged in Philanthropy, where she became the first black chair. She does pretty much everything.
Listen, and after college, Nina plans to attend Harvard Law School, where she will pursue a law degree and master's degree in public policy. She credits her family, as you saw a lot of them there, for supporting her in her achievement. Talk about some black excellence. I know. And it really, we talked about this the other day, you know, listen, I've got hope. You know, they're going to be Gen X, right? Gen Z, that's it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of hope there. I mean, you know, whether it be up and down the basketball court with Bronny, or hopefully maybe the next
whatever she decides to do, I'm sure she will be.
Yeah.
She will flourish and thrive in that position.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So I will say this. To your credit, in speaking about the future, just seeing those two people, what is beautiful about that is that you don't have to be a basketball player like Bronny, and you can do everything in the academic classroom, and you can make whatever that you want to do pop.
Right. You don't have to have a 4.5. How do you even get to a 4.54 GPA? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. All right, for the rundown on today's stories and more, you can access Fox Soul's video on demand on any of our partners, or you can even access past shows and other Black-centered content. Don't forget, Soulmates, to download that Fox Soul app. Check it out over Resurrection Weekend and get in on all of the shows, today's shows, the shows you may have missed out on. They are right there for you. Brandon Hudson, you are the man. Thanks so much for hanging out with us.
Hey, I appreciate you being that strong black woman that's helping me out.
Spiffy. So lift the leg real quick. You got to show them what you got. What
I did something a little different
with
today. I got the purple pants. You see the light blue. With the light blue shirt, light purple shirt.
We call it casket shirt.
Yeah. You know, got the flower lapel. It is springtime. Bring those flower lapels back. Got the pocket square. I like to stay on my P's and Q's.
Have a great Easter weekend.
Hey, you too.
We
Thank you so
love
much.
and appreciate you so much. I'm Courtney Hicks.
I'm Brandon Hudson.
Have a good one. Stay safe. Have a great Resurrection Weekend. And we'll be back at you on Monday right here on Fox Soul's Black Report. Stay safe.